So today, I thought we'd take a look at a really cool game mode from Battlefield 3 that I'd really like to see enter into the Battlefield series once again in Battlefield 4, maybe even Hardline, but it's most likely Battlefield 4. I think it fits the setting there a little bit more than it does with Battlefield Hardline. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is Scavenger, and this was a game mode that was introduced with the Aftermath DLC for Battlefield 3. The main objective of the game mode are capture points around the smaller area of the map that you're going to be playing on. You start with your pistol, and you simply have to pick up weapons that are randomly located around the map. And depending on where you are in the map, a more high profile area, the likelihood is that you're going to get a better weapon. Ultimately, the game mode became really popular for rather a short period of time during Battlefield 3. It sort of built on domination and team deathmatch that little bit more by adding a sort of a random element into the game with not really knowing what weapon you were going to pick up. You could fire with your pistol if you wanted to, you might pick up a crossbow, a carbine, a sniper rifle. You never really knew what sort of gunfight you were going to come into, and you never really knew what was going to happen. And I think that was really cool because it was a fast-paced game mode. Like I said, it built on domination and team deathmatch very well. Those are kind of standard game modes that you expect to see in an FPS nowadays, and Scavenger just sort of branched out a little bit, and I really liked it. Now, translating that forward into Battlefield 4, we know at the moment that the game is due a very big patch that's coming sometime in the middle of September, that's going to be deploying a huge amount of fixes that are currently present in the CTE version of the game, which is the community test environment. We also have had sort of hints that there could be a potential 6th DLC for Battlefield 4 as well, and maybe Scavenger would be the perfect game mode to add into a community-based DLC. From the videos that I've been doing at the moment, I've been doing sort of a best weapons series. It's quite clear to see that there are some very popular weapons in the Battlefield series, and there tends to be a mainstream of players that will always use what I would probably consider to be the best weapons in the game. And it would be nice that if in Scavenger, the weapons that are what are perceived to be by the community as either their best or favourite weapons in the game were sort of maybe pushed to one side a little bit, and some of the weapons that maybe aren't in the limelight all the time could actually be implemented into that game as pickup weapons and random spawn weapons, so that maybe you could get to grips with a weapon that you're maybe not too familiar with. I think that would be a really cool idea. Like I said, in Scavenger in Battlefield 3, you never really knew what sort of gunfight you were going to come into, and that would especially play it up even more if you had hardly ever used the weapon before. So I know that, for example, the Chinese assault rifle, I can't remember what codename it's got and what numbers and letters it's actually named of, but that's probably the least popular assault rifle in all of Battlefield 4. If that was put in to Scavenger mode as one of the drop weapons, that may be sort of like a mediocre weapon, one that's not in such a high profile location around like an objective point, maybe one that you could just pick up, it's got a couple of magazines worth of ammo with it, maybe you could get to grips with a weapon that you're not all that familiar with, and maybe you might find something that you kind of like. I mean, I don't know, I just came across this idea the other day. I spend a lot of time on the train on the way back from work, and I got like a really nice notebook for my birthday from my girlfriend Jess, so I've been spending a lot of time just writing down things about Battlefield that I think that are really cool, and Scavenger was one of those. It's one that I spent a lot of time playing on Battlefield 3, and I thought it would be a perfect game mode for Battlefield 4, especially because we've had quite a bad time with it, and I think that a lot of the game modes that are in Battlefield have always been there, and Scavenger was just like a breath of fresh air, and I think that's what we need for Battlefield 4 anyway, because a lot of people have got very tired of the game being sort of the way that it is. It didn't have a great launch, and still it's not 100% fixed, but I think Scavenger would make for a really nice game mode, something that changes up TDM and domination a little bit, throws a bit of random gunfighting in there, and I think you've got a really good game mode, and ultimately I'd really like to see it make its way into Battlefield 4. One other thing, I touched on it earlier on in the video, this big patch that's coming to Battlefield 4. We've recently been told that the patch is coming in September, which is right now. It's still in sort of certification phase for the consoles, which is PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So they can't release the patch for any platform until it's been certified as a patch that's okay to go onto the console side of Battlefield 4. So at the moment we're looking at middle to late September for this latest patch. Now, we've all been waiting for it an extremely long time, and I have to say that even myself, I'm starting to get a little bit tired as to why it won't come sort of any quicker. We have to go through this certification process for consoles to make sure that it's not going to break the game, and we sure as hell know that we don't want another patch that does that. It's been sort of in the works for maybe 2 to 3 months now. I kind of thought it would coincide with the release of Dragon's Teeth, which I thought would be a brilliant time to release it, but we didn't see it. Ultimately, I really hope that this patch, which is going to port a huge amount of fixes, bugs, tweaks, and everything fixes and amazingness over from CTE into the main game, I really hope that it's going to be worth it. It would be really cool if we could finally have a Battlefield 4 that performs exactly how we want it to, which means it works. And one final thing, I want to give a really big shout out to a YouTuber, picture taker, tweeter, whatever you want to call him. I want to give a massive shout out to Berdu. He's helped me, well, make my thumbnails look awesome over the last couple of weeks, and he takes some absolutely amazing shots in the Battlefield series. He makes some amazing videos, and he's a really cool tweeter as well. His link's in the description today, both to his Flickr gallery, so you can see what amazing pictures he's been taking of the Battlefield sort of game, and various other games as well. His YouTube's linked in the description, and also his Twitter link, so make sure you go and check him out. He's a really nice guy, and I think he deserves a lot of love for what he does for the Battlefield community. So make sure you go and say hi from me. But anyway, thanks very much for watching the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a like on the video and leave all your comments down below. I do try and read as many as I can. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.